Good morning, everybody.
Hey, Javie is here.
Hey.
Hey, Mike, what's up, dude? Glad to see you here. It's I know it's not early for you.
Oh, he's just on the same
as us?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So it is a little early, kind of, not really. It's 8 o'clock. I don't know what I'm talking about. We've been up for a couple hours already. But hey, listen, today's day three of our discussion this week, which has been amazing. Sometimes we go through these discussions and, we get something out of it, which is really good. We always do. But sometimes we have discussions that are like really impactful on us, right? I mean, these are, I know I'm not saying, Mike's blowing up our comments. Look at those fancy mics.
He's been up since 4.
I know. Look, well, because he's all in.
Yeah.
I'm not as all in as you. I'm sorry. It is like 1,000 degrees in our house, and we don't have air conditioning, which is weird for Washington. And because it's not usually that hot here, but it's been super hot. It's a hot summer. So we're really looking forward to it with no air conditioning. And so we can't go to bed very early because it's still 80 degrees in our bedroom. So here we are. Our schedule's a little off, but yes, usually we get up at, 5:30? So
yeah.
Not 4 o'clock. Sorry, Mike. You beat us. You completely win.
Yeah.
But
we making me feel bad now.
We have had.
Not really.
Sorry, not sorry. Hey, Lonza, good morning. Good morning. You're awesome. You're awesome. So anyway, I was just saying that this is a discussion this week that we've been talking about since, yesterday and the day before. We just continue talking about it because God's really been pouring into us personally through this week's discussion, all about which road to take and like taking the road less traveled. And the journey is the more important aspect of our lives. It's not the goal. The goal only exists to make sure the journey happens. It's just a way for us to make sure that we're on the journey towards
That was
something.
a real revelation yesterday, right?
Totally.
When we stumbled into
I haven't stopped thinking about it. It's probably, how you have moments where things, you kind of feel things from God, or you read something, anything you hear or read, or you kind of come across that changes you for life. Like your perspective on something just completely changes forever. That's what happened to me yesterday. It just clicked, something clicked, a light bulb went on, and I suddenly realized, because everyone says, the journey is the most important thing, or it's all, make sure you're there for the journey. But I realized that the whole point of even the goal at all is just so the journey happens. The journey is the success. The journey is the goal.
Well, we're not anti-goals here, guys.
Oh, no.
We're all about goals and setting goals. I mean,
But that's my point.
We have long discussions and teachings about goal setting, but that's not the point. And what we learned yesterday is that we become so focused on the goal.
Yeah. And
when we aren't on track, we fall off track, or we don't meet that goal, we beat ourselves up because we feel like failures. We feel, those voices in our head become louder, and where we tell ourselves that, see, it was never meant to be.
Yeah, or we're failures,
or failures, or you're never going to be able to, all those things. And the thing is we become so focused on the goal.
Mm-hmm.
We don't enjoy the process. We don't enjoy the journey. We don't enjoy what God is really laying out for us along the way.
And
right?
the thing is it's not just that the journey that we've heard that, right? We've said that, but it was this revelation that no, goals are extremely important because they are the reason why the journey happens. If it wasn't for the goals, the journey wouldn't happen. We would never have anything we're shooting for. Right. The goals are very important. They're vital because otherwise the journey doesn't take place. And but the revelation was also that we think it's the journey is necessary to reach the goal, but the goal is necessary actually so that the journey happens, right? And it was such a perspective shift for me. I'm like, oh my gosh, the journey is the goal. The journey is the thing that I'm supposed to be paying the most attention to. The goal is just my beacon for the, to draw me through the journey. So it's just really, really incredible that we've been hearing these things this week. Hey, Monica, good morning.
Good morning,
Happy
Monica.
Thursday to you.
Sorry, I'm going to be moving around because I woke up with a spider bite this morning on my back. It itches like crazy. I forgot to.
Anytime there's a spider bite in the morning, I'm like, nightmares, strip the bed, spray everything.
Burn the bed.
Burn the bed.
All right.
It's like my worst nightmare.
Right. We're going to have to go buy a new bed now. That's too bad.
Or a new house. I don't know. No, it's, yeah. Ugh.
But anyway.
Are you itchy?
Yeah, I'm real itchy. I forgot to put something on it.
Yeah. Well, we'll do that after this.
Anyway.
But, okay. So first things first, before we jump into our devotional and our discussion this morning, we have to go over a little housekeeping. And that is a couple of links you guys need to be aware of to make sure that you are getting the most out of this discussion. So 2 links are really important. So one, if you're watching from inside our private Facebook support group that is for health and wellness, that in there, since it's private on Facebook doesn't allow us to see your comments unless you click that link. So basically we can see it, but it's a blank user. So we don't know who you are. So make sure you click that StreamYard link if you're watching inside our private group, because that way we can see who you are when you comment and we can interact with you. That's really important. It doesn't do anything except just connect your name to our broadcast this one time. So we're not taking your information. Don't worry. The YouVersion Bible app is where we are in this week for our study. If you want to follow along on the actual text that we're using, instead of just me reading it to you, if you want to go in, you want to look at the other days and everything that we're going over this week, make sure you click that YouVersion Bible app, download the app on your mobile device if you haven't already, or if you're on desktop, you don't have to do that. You can just go directly to the study right there on the website. But either way, click that link so that you can follow along.
And if you guys are new to our broadcast, you don't know us, my name's Javie. This is my wife, Jessica, and we are with the Underdog Ninja Foundation. And what we do here is we come every morning, and every Tuesday through Saturday morning, and we have these discussions around a devotional that we feel that is relevant to fighting heart disease, or really any other type of disease or life-changing event in your life that really has you stuck.
Yeah.
But how do we get there? How do we do that? Beyond these devotionals, what is that set around? Well, we believe in 3 principles, and that is faith, character, and action. And like I said, we focus all week long on that faith piece. It's that important, guys. It's our foundation. And with this foundation, this takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of focus, right? Because the world is throwing a lot of different things at us. And so we need help and clarity sometimes on how to handle it, because with how life comes at us every day, especially when we're fighting a disease, we lose perspective. We don't see a way out. We lose hope.
Yeah.
And God wants us to understand there is hope in Him. There is power in Him. He is with us. And that's why we're studying the way we are this week. But these devotionals aren't just a typical devotional. We don't just read it and then just send you on your way. We want to have a conversation with you. We have a discussion. It is a real discussion. My wife and I, we discuss these devotionals in depth. And about a year ago, we decided, well, let's go live with this. Let's see what happens. And it's been amazing. And, it's really evolved to allowing you guys to get involved with this conversation.
Yeah.
And then we just seem to spin off into that. We really get a lot more revelation out of each discussion.
And whatever God brings to the table.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think it's been really powerful. But along the way, we've been developing our character. It helps solidify our character. Who are we in God? And because of that, we're able to get that clarity I talk about, and we feel stronger spiritually. And then we're able to take action. We're able to take actual physical action and really believe we can do the things that seem impossible.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Yeah. And the thing is that, this is something that we feel like God absolutely has called us to do. And so we're here for it. We're here for whatever you've got to bring to the table, whatever God has to say, bring it. Comment below, make sure that you are engaging in these conversations, and we're here to make sure that we're answering any questions that you have, or just to have a discussion. So yeah. You ready?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it.
Let's get going.
Day 3.
About time.
About time. Yeah. All right, you guys. Hey, make sure if you guys would let us know, Monica, if you're watching, would you let us know if you can hear us good? We had some issues with our microphones yesterday.
Yeah.
And
Hey, I got an idea. Hold on, before we get going, let's play just a little bit. Let's. I want to. We need sound effects for Monica
do we have
because
sound effects for Monica when she
yeah,
comes on?
yeah. I think maybe. How about this one?
Yeah. Can you hear that, Monica? Tell us if it's perfect.
Can you hear your sound effects?
Monica's got
do you
thug
agree?
life. Thug life, Monica. It's true. No, but yesterday we were playing a sound effect for Annie and it never came through because our computer had somehow switched without our knowledge the microphone setting, like while we were live, and we were just like, what? So we fixed it. But anyway, just want to make sure we're good. Oh, oh yeah.
All right.
All right.
No more. Stop playing around.
Stop playing around. Jeez. Okay, let's do it. Day 3. Today we're talking about a different road. We're going down a different road, a figurative one. Sure, Jesus walked down many actual roads, but in the passage below, he speaks of a metaphorical road to powerfully illustrate an important point. Read Matthew 7:13-14, and note what the road or way is like. So God begs us not to take the easy way that seems to accept everybody. The gate that leads to destruction is in fact the one that is wide open. The temptation is to take that gate over the one that is narrow. Just not narrow, but also hard. However, that gate leads to life. We learn that not many people are willing to walk down the road that leads to life. How heartbreaking is that to know? The thing is, true life is a hard thing to come by, but it is the one thing I believe all of humanity is pursuing. We want to know why we are here, and we want our life to mean something. Jesus tells us in John 10:10 that there is a thief, Satan, who is coming to steal this life away from us, to kill any chance of finding life, and to destroy all that we thought would turn into beauty. That's his plan. However, God has a totally different plan down his narrow path. He says in verse 10 that he came so that we would not just have life, but have abundant life. The path towards this life of abundance is not an easy one. Not only is it narrow because there is only one way in, belief in Jesus, the way, the truth, and the life, John 14:6. But it is also hard. Many won't enjoy the idea that they must believe and trust in Christ exclusively to have the life God promises. Many will hate the fact that it will cost them a lot to follow Christ. Not an awesome selling factor, right? Though it's difficult, we cannot fear the hard nor the narrow way, because it's the way that leads to life. Read James 1:2-4 and note what it says about hard things. When I was 17 years old, I received a chronic health diagnosis. It wrecked my immune system and led to a dozen surgeries to date. I had been a Christian all of a year when I first received my diagnosis. I didn't understand what God was doing then. The truth is, I still don't understand what he continues to do with this diagnosis. However, I wouldn't trade it for anything either, because I have lived out this passage in James, and I can count it a joy that I went through this trial. God has used to test my weak faith, making it stronger over time, so that he could produce a steadfastness in me. This caused me to have a desperation for and devotion to God that I couldn't have had on my own. I believe that the Lord has allowed this to mature me. One day on the other side of eternity, I'll be able to say he has made perfect and complete, lacking in nothing. Can you think of a difficult situation you have been through that you wouldn't wish on anyone, but you wouldn't trade for the world either? Take a moment to thank the Lord for using it to test your faith and to make you steadfast. Mm-hmm. I mean, hello, heart disease, right? Just 2 years ago, I faced another scary diagnosis, and the Lord led me to the following verse. Isaiah 43:18-19, and note here what Jesus does with our ways. Our Father says that he's doing something new in us. He says that he will make a way in the wilderness. As we talk about roads, this is one of the most significant ones. God is saying that I can make a way when there seems to be no way. Let me read that again for those in the back. God's saying, I can make a way when there seems to be no way. Imagine a full wild forest. The wilderness is chaotic and there is no clear path, right? Yet God says, I'm doing something new. And then he steps in and he makes a way where there were just brambles and chaos before. Wrap up today asking God to make a way in an area where there seems to be no way for you. Ask him to help you stay on the narrow way, even when things get hard. Thank him for how he's making you mature and one day complete and perfect. Ooh.
Mm.
My gosh. I want to yell an amen. Okay, Matthew 7:13-14 says, you can enter God's kingdom only through the narrow gate. The highway to hell is broad, and its gate is wide for the many who choose that way. But the gateway to life is very narrow, and the road is difficult, and only a few ever find it. James 1:2-4 says, dear brothers and sisters, when trouble of any kind comes your way, consider it an opportunity for great joy. For you know that when your faith is tested, your endurance has a chance to grow. So let it grow. For when your endurance is fully developed, you will be perfect and complete, needing nothing. Isaiah 43:18-19 says, but forget all that. It is nothing compared to what I'm going to do. For I'm about to do something new. See, I have already begun. Do you not see it? I will make a pathway through the wilderness. I will create rivers in the dry wasteland.
Wow.
And that just like fills me up like I can't even begin to explain.
Create rivers in a dry wasteland. You know, do you know that your body, the body that God designed, that those, when we're talking about heart disease, cardiovascular disease, when those arteries plaque up, they plug up. Do you know that your heart has the ability to make new pathways?
And it does. How many people have you heard with that story?
Right.
Oh my gosh.
My story.
Yeah. But lots of people say that. It's amazing.
And so there's a way. It's going to take work.
Yep.
It's going to take work that you probably don't want to do. But there's work out there that will bring life, that will show you the way. Look, there are many times when we are faced with this disease and you're in the midst of this battle, whether it's heart disease or any other disease.
Yeah.
And you feel like there is no way, there is no hope there. I don't know. There is no way out of this. That's when you need to turn to God and ask him to find a way, ask him to clear a path for you, show you what that path is for your life.
Well, the cool
to see hope. But you have to be willing to take it. You have to be willing to step into it. You have to be willing to step into your faith. There's a lot of things that we've been hearing this week, you and I, that we had to take a step back and say, oh, okay, but I need to listen and I need to take action. You know, look, guys, we're not here just speaking a lot of words. This is our study we're doing with you.
Yeah. This is for us too.
And so we take these words to heart, but I'll be honest. Sometimes we let it fall away because of life, because busy schedules, because of kids needing this and because of this and because bills need to be paid and all the things. We get lost in what was God what
was God saying? Yeah.
What did he say? It was so relevant and then we forgot.
Hey, I want to bring up this right here. Good morning, Annie. I didn't want to leave you hanging.
Oh, wait. Oh, that's the wrong one. Hey, what did you do?
Annie's new sound effect is a
typewriter. Because she's just typing away, type.
Good morning, Annie.
There we go. There's
Annie,
your sound
did
effect.
you hear a sound effect? Because this is what you were supposed to hear yesterday, and it didn't go through, and so we fixed it. But hopefully you heard. This is your sound effect from now on when you come in.
Yeah.
Good morning, beautiful souls. And then you hear this.
Yeah.
This is what we're going to play for you.
That's going to be called Annie's sound effect.
Annie's sound effect. Good morning. Right. So, sorry, we're big nerds. So what I was going to say to that is that, remember, we were talking about, well, ask God to make a way. See, that's how we operate. We operate and ask God to make a way as if he hasn't already got that in front of us planned out ahead of time. Like he's already called you to go through this hard time. He's called us to grow through adversity, but he made a way already. He already made a way out. He already made a clear path through the wilderness, right? He's allowed us to go through the wilderness only because there's a clear path out that he's created, right? And he's saying it's going to be okay. Not only do I want you to take this as a growing opportunity, I want you to take this and make this not a waste of time. This is not a waste of time. This is something that's going to absolutely benefit you in every way. But you have to look at it that way. You have to use it for that. You have to view your pain and turn it into your purpose. But God's like, not only that, but I've made a path for you out, and I'm with you. So I mean, you've got a guide, you've got the path, and you've got the purpose for this pain. You've got the guide, the path, and the purpose for this pain. And God's saying, let's go. And let's make the most of this. And if you do that with all of your painful situations, so much more comes out of it. I mean, you don't feel like it's wasted. You don't feel like it's nothing. And it leads to life, just like this devotional said. It really does. It's like, boy, it really paints a picture of like, it's narrow and it's hard and it's uphill and snowing both ways. And like, but you're going to follow Jesus. Okay. But that's the thing is I want to talk a little bit about the life that it leads to. What is our life like being on the narrow path, taking that road less traveled? What kind of blessings have you and I seen?
Well,
and we've seen others have
right.
by taking this path.
Well, see, the thing is, that wide open path. There's a reason why it's wide. It's wide, and the gates are wide because they had to take in all the people that are on that path, because that's the easy way. That's the way most people are taking, right? But, and that's a fact. I mean, if you look at your life, and if you are trying to live your life for God, you understand that you are the rare one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You aren't following the crowd. But you'll understand this. On that narrow path, you see, the enemy will tell you, well, it's going to be hard, it's narrow, and it's going to be lonely. When that's complete opposite. It's not lonely. God gives you nourishment.
Yeah.
Nourishment in a way that you never received before.
Right.
Strength and clarity on that path.
So
it's not just dreary, and you're going to be just worn down, and there's a reason,
depleted.
Right? There's a reason why it's narrow, because no one survives. That's not true. The other way, the wide open path,
you get trampled.
Yeah. And it's dangerous, and you don't get the nourishment.
It's deception.
You get nourishment, and it's short-lived, right? Those are those things that we fall into, that we want to get quick satisfaction,
right? But
they don't last. And God's satisfaction, the satisfaction he gives, is everlasting. And we just don't realize that.
Well, let's talk a little bit about
is that what you meant?
Yeah, no, yeah, but I mean, I want to dig into it a little bit, because we talk a lot about all these metaphorical things like, well, God gives us life, it leads to life, it leads to blessing, blah, blah, blah. But what does that look like actually in real life? Like what would be the difference between our life digging into this stuff with God and living through our adversity with God, as opposed to somebody who's not? Like, what's the actual difference? Like the day to day, what actually do we see in our life? And we've seen in others' lives too, of course. It's not just us, but we can only speak for ourselves. So what happens in our life? Like, something happens, like when your heart attack happened. Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, it was terrifying. Sure.
Yeah.
I was already pleading with God. I was already like asking him. I was praying over Javie. I was, doing all those things. But God was there to hold me and to walk through it with me. Look, if I didn't have God, what am I doing in that moment? I'm leaning only upon myself and my own ability to cope alone. I don't have God to talk to. I don't have anybody who can do anything. Think about this. I'm leaning on God to do something I can't do, the doctors can't do. I'm leaning on God to do things. But by the way, I've actually seen him do for him. This man should have died 6, 7, 8 times. I mean, there's so many times that it doesn't make sense that he survived. And I'm so grateful for that. But only God can do that. And so when I'm leaning on God, it's not like he's a genie. I'm just saying, well, I can't do anything. The doctors can only do so much. So I'm leaning on you, God. But if I didn't have that, what am I doing? I'm panicking. I'm helpless. I'm hopeless. And there's nothing I can do. And this is it. It would be like, I feel like a dead end. It would feel like, well, if I don't know what to do, then there's nothing that can be done. Right. And that's where you fall. So when God's in the mix, that's just in that moment. I'm just talking about the moment where you're going through the actual thick of it, right? The thick of the adversity. But God shows up throughout, right? So not only does he prepare our hearts before something happens, then when it happens, we are able to respond with sanity. We're able to respond. I mean, even though I was like, oh, it was terrifying, we were in control. We were going through the motions, like, of the things we needed to do. God was keeping me calm. He was keeping me focused, had a clarity of mind. I was able to deal with my children's fears. I was able to do all the things I needed to do because I knew God was in control of the situation. I could give my husband to God and say, I know that you're in control of this. And it gives me sanity, it gives me hope, it gives me peace, and I can lean heavily on that. All right, now we're going through the big parts, right? We're going through you've gone through the scary part, the in the hospital, and I'm praying in the hallway, right? Mm-hmm. I'm praying over him in the hallway. I'm singing praises to Jesus. He's laying on the table, he's praying. He knows I'm praying, even without me telling, like him knowing. He's like, I know that's what she's doing. So he feels supported, right? Knowing that I'm pleading with God. I'm praying for God's peace. I'm praying for the wisdom for the doctors to know what to do and all of that. He gets out, and then immediately we're looking for what purpose in that pain. Immediately, I mean, and this is keep in mind, because we've been through this so many times. This isn't how it was in the very beginning. I mean, we weren't like amazing at this, always. But now we immediately look for the purpose in the pain, because we know that if God was going to allow this to happen, there has to be a reason. Mm-hmm. When he saved your life so many times, if we're even going through something, what's the reason? So even if God's not clear about what the reason is, we're looking for a way to make it make sense. We're looking for a way to make a purpose out of it. Even if it's not clear from God yet what his purpose is in it, we're going to start with us. Okay, what can we do to use this so that it doesn't feel like a waste? Like, we can use this to help people. So when you went through your heart attack, I mean, within 24 hours, he was sitting up in bed going, all right, this has got to be something we share with people, because now I fully understand what this is like. And I know that this is going to help people because I can speak right from their pain and I can understand them better. And all of a sudden he realized that there was a reason why he went through this. Yeah. It wasn't a waste.
Right. So for me, I mean, most of my journey, I didn't have a heart attack. I had angina. I had tremendous chest pain that left me weak and out of breath, and all the different symptoms that I had. And thank goodness most of that time I didn't. I was able to, because being in tune with my body, knowing that something was wrong and not being afraid to say something, right?
Hello.
And do something about it. I didn't have a heart attack.
You had a lot of stents.
Right. I was able to get to help and get to a doctor before there was any type of damage. However, a few years ago, I did have a heart attack. I had 3 heart attacks, but
in one day.
But the initial heart attack came quickly and very unexpectedly. I mean, it was it just like someone flipped a switch.
Yeah.
And it was massive. So the reason why I said I could relate now, because what I had felt before and what I was feeling in the moments of having a heart attack, I felt my life being taken from me. I literally, not only did I experience tremendous amount of pain, but I could feel my life being taken. And that was something that I don't want to ever experience again. And I don't want anybody else to experience. And it was just a whole different level. Like I said, I wish I would never have reached, but God had chosen for me to do that. And look, this had happened when I'm already coaching people about fighting heart disease.
Yeah.
Look, I have heart disease, guys. And I'm here helping you live your life through it while I still have this disease. And it's a daily battle. And like you
Mhm.
said, there are some days that you're not doing so well at that fight. But then there's days that we are.
Right.
But the thing is you'll hear me say what you got to really uh evaluate your bounce back rate. How quickly are you bouncing back from that event? Maybe in the beginning, like you had said, that would have taken me out for months, maybe years, just because not knowing the emotional aspect of it, not knowing all the
Mhm.
different things. But God has taken me down this journey that has equipped me
Yep.
and has equipped me with knowledge and skills that has allowed me to bounce back
Yeah.
from an event fairly quickly and get back to work, get back to life,
But think about that.
get back to enjoying my life.
You just said it equipped you. So we were talking earlier about how the journey is what equips you for things. So
Mhm.
100,000% we know for sure that God's been equipping him knowing that heart attack was coming, and that it became an opportunity and a tool to be used to help others more fully and more passionately and more genuinely.
Mhm.
Not that we weren't genuine, but you can be, the more genuine you can be, or not, you can be more genuine when you fully understand. The more you understand personally, because you've been through it, the more genuine you're able to be, because you're like, well, no, I mean, I really understand. Like, it's not like I'm trying to understand. I really understand what you're talking about. And so the more, authentic and genuine we're able to be now, that's what that was, instead of an event that took his life away, an event that took his, not actual breathing life, physical breathing life, but like your quality of life away. Didn't take your mental and
Right.
emotional life away. You were able to bounce right back and say, okay, I have to go through this, but I'm not going to make this a waste of time. This is going to be 100% something that is a vehicle to opportunity to reach people for God's glory and their hope and their healing. And so that's just one example of the difference that God makes in our journey. When that narrow path leads to life, we're able to overcome these things more quickly, and then more powerfully use that as an equipping moment than a moment where it's breaking us down. And then just daily when we're living our lives, and we're people go, well, okay, but if I'm living for Christ, like I got to kick all this stuff out of my life. I can't do this and I can't do this and da 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 da. But remember, it's not a list of rules. This is a relationship. But here's what happens when you're living with God on this journey. When you're reaching out for him and he's the one that you choose to walk with. The biggest difference for me, obviously that's a huge difference in a traumatic situation, but on the daily, the biggest difference for me is that I remember that everything he ever told us to do was for us, not for him. He doesn't need us to follow rules. Like, it wouldn't make any difference to him whether we followed rules ever. Think about it. Why would it make any difference to God if we followed rules? It wouldn't. The only reason that 10 commandments or anything he ever called us, to do, or set out to do for us, was for us. We were watching The Chosen last night. Chosen,
I was just
season 2, episode 6. So
Yeah.
good.
So who watched that last night?
Yeah,
Did you guys
comment
catch it?
below if
Oh my gosh.
you're watching Chosen, because I will never stop talking about this. I don't do this with shows, by the way. I don't constantly tell people about TV shows.
But this is something
It's not a TV
that
show.
oh my gosh.
It is a movement of God. And it's something that you just can't not
Last
watch.
night they did a live event before it, and it was
Incredible.
Awesome.
So
But anyway.
this thing that was said in there, Jesus was really poignant about, was they were talking about the Sabbath, and he went to this little synagogue in the country, and they were freaking out because he was healing somebody on the Sabbath, and they were like, Sabbath, you can't do that on the Sabbath. And they were like yelling rules at Jesus. And he was like, the Sabbath was given to man for man, not for God. Okay. The Lord, he said, the Son of Man, which is Jesus, is still Lord on the Sabbath. And they all freaked out because he called himself that. But it's one of those things that everything that was given to us to do was for us. not for us to follow as a rule because of some like we're going to go to hell, or we're going to, it's not like this, like rules that we have to follow because otherwise there's some kind of consequence to God, like because we broke a rule. No, he's giving it to us. Let me better explain this. I don't think I'm explaining it very well. He's giving it to us because it benefits our life. Right? So if I'm going to go ahead and do the things that God is calling me to do, it's yes, for his kingdom. Yes, it's to help others, but it's to benefit me. If I'm going to live my life, let's say on the straight and narrow, people are like, well, I'd have to clean up my act and all this. Okay. I don't know why that's a bad thing, but I can understand people don't want to give up their stuff. But anything I've ever given up, I say given up, like, I don't feel like I gave something up. I feel like I was getting rid of a chain, that I was breaking a chain of bondage. Anytime I get rid of something that God's calling me to let go of, when it's gone, I realize what a chain of bondage it was. He's trying to free us from a life of bondage when he says, maybe don't do this. Hey, maybe don't do that. Like, you shouldn't do any of these things. He's not trying to be a ruling dictator. He's trying to free us from the bondage that life is when you're stuck in those things. When you live life on the narrow path, the straight and narrow, right? Everyone goes, the straight and narrow, for Christ. And you live according to the things that God would call you to do. You find life and freedom. When you're in it, you realize, oh, life is better. Oh, I feel better. Oh, I feel freer. Oh, I feel like I can be more honest with everyone and everything around me. I can look God straight in the face and be okay with who I am. I don't feel bad, right? I don't feel like a loser. I don't feel like I can't measure up. I can't hack this. Now, let me be clear. I am not perfect, and neither is he, and neither is anybody at like doing this. That's why Jesus died for our sins. Okay.
Exactly right.
But I'm just talking about the pursuit of doing the things that are on the narrow path, living your life for God. Now, when you are dealing with something traumatic, it adds to that fire of like, oh, now I'm not even doing everyday life, right? I started this because I was saying, what does life actually look like? When it says the narrow path leads to life, right? Leads to life. What does that mean? Leads to life. Well, I've painted this picture of, during traumatic situations, it's chaos and God shows up and he carries us through that. And he is a beacon of hope and he is right there. But during the daily stuff, he calls us to be living a certain way so that we can be free, so that we don't have to be in bondage over sins and vices and things that we rely on here on earth that are temporal. They're temporary. They go away, right? They're not God. They're not forever. And so anyway, I just want to make sure I was clear on that because that's a kind of a lot. But when I just realized, maybe it was God that was telling me, I don't know, but I just realized that when we say these things over and over, like it's just nothing, like, oh, that leads to life. Well, what does that mean?
Yeah.
It leads to life. Okay, we're all alive. We all have a life. What does that mean? That's what it means. It's real life, like true, pure joy and peace in your life where you wake up every morning and you have a purpose today. You know what you're doing with your life. You know what God's called you to do. You know who you are in Christ. You're secure in that, and you can go have joy even through the hardships.
Well, one of the things that I wanted to mention that you kind of hit on, what if you feel that you're on that narrow road and God, like we're reading in the devotional where you're diagnosed with your disease and it really throws you off and you're hit with that. And then, because of that, you're not able to pay your bills and the bill collectors start to call. And then something else happens in your life. It seems like one thing after another. And you're like, why am I doing this? The temptation is to give up. The temptation is to go back to your old habits, to go back to your old vices. Because by the way, those vices, those things helped you cope, right?
Mm-hmm. In place of
and
God.
you forget what God has brought you from. Mm-hmm. And we distance ourselves from God. Well, I have this going on. I have that going on. By the way, I have this new diagnosis that's affecting my health.
Yeah.
And that's all. And this has been while you're on that narrow road. One of the most powerful, maybe you could talk about it more. I would love to talk more about it. If we don't have time in this broadcast, maybe tomorrow. But the most powerful moment of yesterday's episode on The Chosen was the story, the story with Mary Magdalene.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now.
Oh, no spoilers. I don't want to give it away.
Right. Oh man,
you can't give it away.
I can't.
It's way too powerful. There's an extremely powerful moment where we both were just like. Bleh.
The thing is that there are things that happen in life, and God allows this. And you really have to ask yourself why God is allowing these things. Early on, I asked myself, well, why am I afflicted with this disease? Why do I have why am I the lucky one to have this disease? Right.
The lottery winner. That's what Jeff called it. He was like, I'm a heart disease lottery winner.
And the thing is I've been chosen to fight this fight.
Yeah.
I've been chosen to live my life this way. And you know what? Now looking back, I see what God has brought me through and what He's taught me.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized that that's what it was going to take for me to learn that and to help others. He's given me a calling for this. Go ahead.
Oh, I just was going to bring up Alonzos. This happened to me so many times in the past. Can you clarify which thing you're talking about? Which happened to you so many times in the past? I'd love to know.
So when a lot of times when things happen, these trigger moments, right? These moments that just kind of set us off. And then it's not just one, it's just one thing after another, after another, and after another. And we are tempted to go back to that old life.
Yeah.
And sometimes we make the mistake of going back to it, dabbling.
Like a relapse of our old self.
Then what does the enemy say to us? Well, you can't go back now.
You can't face God now.
He redeemed you once. Why would He redeem you again?
Right.
That's such a lie.
Totally. Come on. How many times have we have to go back to God after like screwing up?
Exactly right.
I mean, we have to renew it daily. We have to, and not that our salvation is renewed daily, but because He died once.
Let me ask you this: do you do that to your children? Do you when they screw up not once but twice, a million times?
A million times, yeah.
Right? Don't you forgive them? Don't you still love them?
Don't you use it as a
now?
I'm
not saying that there aren't consequences. There are consequences.
Yeah.
But it doesn't take away our love for our children. Well, think about how God loves you.
Right.
Don't you think He would accept you even if you've screwed up, even though you've maybe fallen into a moment of weakness?
Yeah.
And I say that because look, we are not perfect.
No.
And sometimes we do fall off track.
Mm-hmm.
But that's okay. We just need to get back on the road, the narrow road. Right?
Yep. We need to learn to question our own thoughts. So many don't realize that it's God speaking to us. Yeah. It happened to us this morning. We were
oh man.
We were getting ready for our day this morning, and we were just like quiet. We were just getting ready. Both of us were quiet. And out of nowhere, I came with this thought that was completely random. I mean, it came into my head. It was completely random. And I was talking to him about it. I was like, well, this is weird, but I don't know why this was in my mind, but I feel like I have to share it with you. So I shared it with him. I'd share it here, but it wouldn't make any sense to you. Anyway, so I'm sharing this with him, and I'm like, this is kind of what I was feeling. And he's like, yeah, that's a really good point. And he goes, and by the way, while I'm thinking this, I'm hearing this, I'm thinking, I feel like God's probably telling him something similar, but that's even weird that I'm thinking that. So then anyway, I get done telling him, sorry, my nose itches. And he goes, want to hear something weird? God just told me this and everything. And then right as soon as he was talking to me, like I was feeling these things. I was thinking these things, kind of feeling like they were out of nowhere. So, they're probably God talking to me, right? So he feels like he's like God's talking to me. You came out with the answer to my question I was asking him.
I mean,
In the moment.
I mean, almost immediately she came with her answer with what she felt that she had to say to me. And it was exactly what I was asking God about. And I hadn't even finished my sentence.
Yeah, I mean, so
I
this
mean,
is
my
your thought process, yeah.
my thought process to God. And
right.
look, this was out of the blue. We weren't talking.
Yeah, we were just doing our thing.
We
ready.
weren't talking about something that led up to it. It was early in the morning, and we were just starting our day. And a lot of times, I say a lot of times, but let's be honest. Sometimes we're busy and we don't do this. But most of the time, it's our time with God. Either we're reading the Word or we're praying or whatever. And so it was that type morning today where we're both pretty quiet. Yeah. We hadn't said anything really other than good morning and stuff to one another.
Yeah.
And then this happened. And it was an amazing thing, because not only did God answer what I had asked him, he let me know that he was present with us and he was hearing what I was saying.
Confirming. We
and
knew
it was a lot of confirmation, but he reminded me of my words yesterday, right? He reminded me that, hey, you're saying a lot of things, and it becomes very awakening and relevant to you in the moment, but you too still have to act upon it.
Yeah.
And he's so right. He was just reminding me about that.
I want to bring this up. Alonzo says, being angry with God, not going back to God. Forgiveness is hard to get back to.
Yes.
So I want to tell you a quick story about something that happened to me years and years ago.
I want you, if you haven't, you download the Chosen app.
Chosen. It's called The Chosen.
And if you haven't watched season 1, obviously watch season 1.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, start at the beginning.
But season 2, episode 6.
Yeah.
That
it will blow your mind.
Yeah, but watch
Alonzo,
the other episodes.
The Chosen will bless you like you will never been blessed in your whole life. It will open up things for you, and you'll understand things so much more about Jesus and who they were. And there are people all over the world, it's incredible, watching this that aren't even Christians that are getting blessed by this, and it's so incredible.
And look, and the reason why, because we wouldn't promote things like this, it's not a different take. It's because they really bring the gospel to life, and that's what it is. They make Jesus truly authentic.
It's not a different take. It's finally a real take.
And it really, it's a drama series where you're really taking what it immerses us of what it would be like. What are the dynamics between people around Jesus? It's not just
who he really was,
what he was saying and what he was doing. It's everything around him, the environment and who he was, and the people around him, who the apostles were.
The Passion of the Christ did this also. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Look,
it's so much. It's so much better than Passion. And we love Passion.
We love Passion we love that. But this takes it on a whole new level.
Yeah. And we didn't expect it either. And when you watch The Chosen, you'll realize what we're talking about. It's like a whole new level of like the Passion.
And this is the thing. It's all free.
Yeah, it's free. Exactly.
You download the app and it's all free. They do have a thing called Pay It Forward. So what it is that they encourage, say, we pay whatever we feel. And that helps. So someone that can afford it, watch it for free.
Yeah. So it allows pay for episodes.
It allows these episodes and the DVD series and everything to be free. So it's all up to you. But anyway, I'm sorry. I kind of got off.
Oh, that's okay. I just wanted to tell this story because this is something that I went through, Alonzo, I went through this where I was like, I can't forgive myself. Like I can't I don't even think I can allow God to forgive me for some of the stuff I did in my life. And I was going through this at the time. This was years and years and years ago. Okay. So my 20s. And I had a good friend of mine who she said to me something, and I've always brought this up because this is something that stuck with me for the rest of my life. This is the reason why I'm able to let everything go to God when it's me and I've done something. It's easy for me to go back and repent now and say, I know that you're going to forgive me over and over. I know that. I'm sorry. I just, you have to just talk to God about whatever it is, whether you've done something crazy or whether you haven't done something that you were supposed to do or whatever it happens to be that you feel like, you're trying to figure out how to go back to being, forgiven. Two things that were really important that she said. She said, well, this isn't about you forgiving yourself. Nobody ever in the Bible said you forgive yourself. God forgives you. But Jesus died on the cross for your sins. This was to cover everybody's sins for all time. You just need to go to God and talk to him about it. You've already been forgiven. You're not asking for forgiveness. You've already been forgiven. You're accepting the forgiveness you've already been given, and meeting God in an honest place and just repenting and saying, I know, and I'm sorry, and I know. And you just have to be in that moment with him, but understanding that he's already forgiven you. You're not waiting to see if he's going to forgive you. It's already happened, right? So you need to live in the victory that's already ours. But that idea that you're wondering if you will allow him to forgive you, because you're not willing to forgive yourself, like, oh, I don't think I can forgive myself. That's too big. Well, then you're saying that Jesus died for nothing. So if you can't go back to forgiveness, then you're basically you're saying that because I don't want to go back to God, or I don't think God can forgive me, then Jesus didn't die for me. And I couldn't stomach that. I was like, well, obviously I believe that Jesus died for me. Obviously that's where I'm at with God. I'm 100% in, but it was just so much. I felt so bad that I couldn't face him. And I think that's what you're talking about too. But like, I totally understand, but we got past it. And after that conversation, I realized, oh, I need to just be able to, own up to my own actions. And I need to be honest with myself and with God, and we're all good. We're going to be good. But what happens is knowing that you're going to have to own up, knowing that you can't move forward without doing that with God, is what started to keep me from being that person I was. That's what started to pull me out of it, was God, not only God's love and his forgiveness, but the idea that if I didn't like that moment, I should stop doing the things I was doing. See, before I had this idea that I just was I was living my life whatever I wanted to, like doing whatever I felt like. And that, well, here I am. This is who I am. I guess I should just keep going. Like there's no way back to God. So whatever, I guess I'm just this person. I can't really go back now. See, when you can't go back, you give yourself permission to continue in sin.
Yeah.
But when God's like, no, I already forgave you. Like, you literally don't even have to ask me if I'm going to forgive you. Just come here and talk to me. So it's all about that moment of facing yourself and facing your sin. That's really what we're doing, because you can always go back to God. So when you do go back to him and you say, okay, all right. So listen, I know I have not been great at this, but knowing I'm a broken human and I'm not alone, and that every human is like this, my goal isn't to be perfect. My goal is to be obedient. My goal is to follow you. My purpose here is to be useful for you, God, is to love you, is to love others, to be used for the kingdom, to be, like what I'm here for, not to be perfect. So as long as I'm doing my best and I'm facing it and I'm dealing with whatever consequences happen, which I had to deal with the consequences of my actions. There's fallout, but God forgave me, and I don't sit on that stuff anymore.
Right. God knows that we can't be perfect.
Yeah. He wants to have a conversation about it.
That's why he came and died, because we aren't perfect.
Because he doesn't want us to be condemned.
Right.
That's why he came and died. He's like, I don't want to condemn you. I want to forgive you. I want to have a relationship and have you guys grow. Think about your own kids.
Right.
Don't we want them to be okay with us? Wouldn't we rather have a conversation about what they've done and then forgive them and move on and have them grow through it and have an opportunity to even become a better person, instead of just being like, nope, never again. I'm never forgiving you again. Not happening. Like, we're done here. And so you've used up your punch card or whatever, like we think God's doing. Like, no, he doesn't want us to like be lost to the oblivion of sin. He wants us to come back and be able to change. But we can't do that until we have gotten right with God. And that's really only owning up and saying, okay, I accept your forgiveness. I accept what you've done. And I want to move forward.
Right. Absolutely right. Hey, look, I hope you understand where we're coming from and why we're talking about this, because why are we talking about being forgiven and, when we screw up? Because we don't want that to be the reason. God doesn't want that to be the reason why you don't continue down that narrow path.
Right.
The enemy's going to tell us that, well, we don't have the ability, we don't have the strength. We this is how, like what you said, this is who I am. So if this is who I am, I might as well just keep going, because I'm just going to disappoint God, and I can't, I can't stomach that, or all the things that we say that God can't forgive us. And that's not true. That is a lie to keep us away from God. Look, the quicker we get back onto that path, the quicker we can get our redemption, the quicker we could get back to being the person that God has called you to be. The enemy doesn't want you to do that. Okay? Keep in mind, the enemy, his purpose is to destroy you. And so he will do everything within his power to do that, within his power. But the thing
Which isn't much.
Right. But God's power is everlasting, is all powerful. But the thing is that we get deceived and we don't tap into that. We don't go to the being that actually can help us and forgive us and love on us. But anyway, I hope that all makes sense to you guys today.
Well, with heart disease, with anything we're stricken with, just know that we go into all of this in depth, because these are all things that go into question when you're dealing with something this hard.
Right.
This is why we go into this. It may seem sometimes like we're not talking about heart disease. We're not talking about fighting, your medical issues, your health battles, but this all goes into that. This is what happens that's not being addressed, is this mental and emotional and spiritual part of our lives, this health, that part of your health that is really challenged when you're going through something so hard as like a heart attack or something, and feeling like we can't get right with God about it, or here we are, and our struggle with our faith. And so this is really why we focus so much on our relationship with God here, is because this is the beginnings. It's the foundation of everything.
Exactly right. Hey, you guys, if you got something out of today, please hit like and share this with your friends and family. We would really appreciate that. Like we say, we're trying to grow this mission. We are on a mission that we feel that we've been called by God to help others that find themselves struggling with life, find themselves struggling with whether it's disease or mental health issues, or things that really just come at us. And we find ourselves in that pit, that dark place that we can't seem to get ourselves out of it. That's the mission that God has called us to be on. And we want to grow that. We want to help you. We want to help guide you through these devotionals. So if you have someone in mind, please feel free to share this with them. Absolutely. And invite them every morning, Tuesday through Saturday. We'd really appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're watching from our YouTube channel, make sure you hit subscribe on that channel, because that's a way that you're going to get notified of all of the future broadcasts and content that we post on our YouTube channel. That YouTube channel is for our nonprofit. These broadcasts we do each morning are part of what we do for our nonprofit for heart disease. That's that focus there. And so if you feel like there's somebody that has heart disease that needs the help, make sure you send them and direct them to our free group and our nonprofit YouTube channel. All those different free resources are available. And we can send you the links for that later if you need that as well.
All right, guys, we'll let you move on with your day, and we will see you tomorrow.
Love you guys.
Bye.